Hello and welcome to the Eddie Conversation podcast. My name is Eddie V. Hill, and I am your host. This is episode 100, and I'm sorry. Not that I'm sorry to hit episode 100, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry is something that I recently learned how to say. I would say in the last couple of years, but I don't want to jump straight into that. I want to take this episode to talk to you because, look, if you're watching the video version of this, there's nobody sitting on this couch next to me to talk. There's nobody in the same room, and I wanted to take this opportunity to celebrate episode 100 with you. And I want to start that by talking a little bit about, I want to jump into highlighting proudest moments. I want to jump into talking about myself and sharing with you changes in my life, lessons learned in my life, and take an opportunity to be vulnerable in a way and share part of who I am that I normally don't share in this kind of setting like this. And I want to try something different here, and it is difficult. I don't know who's going to be watching this episode or listening to this, and I am in a way being careful with how much I share, but I am excited to try to share in a new way. That said, let's jump in. This is episode 100. I started this podcast back in 2020, back in the height of the pandemic, October of that year. I wanted to get better at talking to people via like extended conversations, and I wanted to face my own fear of deeper conversation. And it's taken years. I mean, we're in 2025 now. But yeah, I wanted to get better at talking to people. I wanted to be able to sit down with them and talk. For the goal at the beginning was 3 hours. And I needed connection. I needed human connection. I've been mostly adamant about having these conversations in person. And I have my phone with me, so I'm trying to keep up and keep on track with what I'm looking to talk about. So please forgive me on that. But yes, it was difficult at first to do this show. As much as I wanted to do this, it is hard to schedule people and follow through on the post-production. And my goal was having a weekly episode released. And that is currently my goal again. I did disappear for some time, and I do want to talk about that. But yeah, it does take a lot of work, even a small production show like mine, where I'm the one booking people, I'm the one doing the editing, doing the uploads, writing all the stuff, posting to social media, doing all the things. But yeah, and it has been interesting even for me to just feel the difference in how much more comfortable I am today to sit down with somebody and talk, and how much more comfortable I am in myself at this point. And the podcast and pursuing that has played a pretty big part in my journey, and I do look forward to looking back on these episodes, and I hope that you've enjoyed checking them out as well. So 100 episodes. I have primarily talked to filmmakers because I have worked in film and been pursuing film and being a director or at least the filmmaking journey and the path started over 10 years ago, like 12 years now. So I've primarily talked to filmmakers. If you go scroll through, like I kind of wanted to break the data down. I didn't hassle through all of that, but it's a lot of directors, a lot of actors. And I wanted to diversify and talk to, I've talked to cinematographers and art people and sound, I've done my best to keep it interesting for myself and talk to a wide variety of people with varying levels of experience. And I've also kept it interesting for myself by diving into talking about people who don't work in film, because I can only talk film so much. I've talked to a life coach, a city council member, marriage and family therapist, someone with mortgage lender background, and even a sports chiropractor. So just like for me, it feels very random and all over the place, but that's what keeps it interesting for me. Yeah, because this at the end of the day is really, from my perspective, a chance to build connection with people, and in this case, build a connection with you. So that's how I see it. It's one thing to collaborate on a film set and make a movie together. It's another thing to sit and talk. Um, and I am at this time pushing for even more of that. And it not on camera's cool, off camera even better. But this is a nice space to do that, and I have definitely enjoyed that. To close off, kind of like what this podcast has been about, I want to highlight. I have been very proud. I feel proud to have been able to highlight script supervisors on this show. They are a group and a department in filmmaking that I feel don't get the spotlight very often. I mean, be it on a film set or with a microphone. Yeah, we don't. We as in movie watchers and even movie makers don't often hear what a script supervisor has to say. Um, so I have had 7 on this show. So if you're watching the video version, I'll put up their thumbnails up above. It has been fun to highlight them. And then on a deeper level than that, there's a couple episodes that stand out as ones that I'm immensely proud of, and I'm looking forward to having those in its own time capsule as they exist out there right now. And I'll say the first one is, I think, episode 8. I had my brother on. I have one brother. His name is Caesar, and this was a fun, a fun excuse to connect with him. So I know I will have that little timestamp forever to look back on. And I kind of, it'd be fun to have him on again throughout the years and just see how we grow and how we show up together in different ways in this kind of setting. That sounds fun to me. And another one that I'm very proud of is episode 32. I had the opportunity, and I'm so happy this worked out, to speak with my great grandmother, Vigil. And that one was important to me because I grew up running around and seeing her and knowing of her and knowing a lot of the family stories that revolve around her and my great grandfather. My great grandfather had passed away at this point, some fairly recently, and I wanted to talk to her while I still had the chance and to document it for the family, so that way, at least, yeah, that would be, we could look back on that as a family, and that meant a lot to me to be able to do that, and it was nice having that moment. And I know, thinking back to that, it was really sweet to hear. I think I learned about this after we had finished recording, but if you look at an image of her on the show, or maybe I'll have the thumbnail up here. She's wearing like a red dress or something red, and my great aunt had told me that she was really, that my great grandma was really looking forward to the podcast, or talking to me, and she understood what this was she was doing, that she was going to be on camera, and she got dressed up. She wore what she wore with full intention to for the show and for me and for the family, and it was really sweet to hear that that she had been so intentional about that. Yeah, so the podcast has been about connection. It has been about essentially my, like, this is a hobby that I keep up with in order to be healthy for myself. It's for my own mental health in a real way, and it encourages me to do so many things that I want to do at the same time. And I love it, and I have missed it, and yeah, and I want to talk about kind of like where I've been in a way and where I am now. So let's jump into that. Um, I if you look at the upload dates on the episodes, there's a gap in there recently, and I'll just put it in this way for now. I went away, and in many ways, I lost myself, and I'm just now coming back. I've been hiding. I I took that step back, and I believe now that I took the step back out of fear, and I want to talk about lessons learned for myself. And this isn't going to be the most eloquently spoken. I have been a little self-conscious about doing this because if you see, if you see these clips on Instagram or YouTube or these really curated, even as honest as they can feel, like it's hard, it's hard to do this and to try to live up to that. So I'm just kind of like leaning into myself here, and it's gonna come out how it's gonna come out, and it may not be perfect. I mean, it won't be perfect, no chance. So again, thanks for being here, and let's see. Okay, so for me, during my time away, I, like I said, I lost myself. I was feeling like a shell of myself, and I was close to forgetting who I was. And the hard part for me is that I am now, facing, accepting myself for who I am and accepting the decisions that I made at the time, understanding that I did the best that I could with who I was at the time. But yeah, I was complicit in the path that I went down. So right now I'm recovering and I'm feeling much better, and I'm very excited about the future. So I just want to say that up front. I feel very changed in a lot of ways, in a good way. I've grown a lot, um, and mostly in like a self-awareness of my internal, like just emotions and mental state. Yeah, a new awareness of many emotions. I'll list some here: anxiety, lack of safety, feeling disrespected, fear, frustration, and then essentially the inverses of all these feelings. So I very much leaned into feeling these new feelings, and they've been very tied to how I am assessing my surroundings and the people I spend time with, and just yeah, like to the industry that I work in. Okay, so I'm gonna go through a series of topics essentially as my lessons learned, and I kind of want to preface here that I'm 35 years old, and a lot of these sound kind of obvious. And maybe a past version of me might have thought that I had a handle on understanding these, but it is kind of cliched, but true to be like I didn't understand a lot of this, and I'm now addressing that within myself. So we'll start with defensiveness. I didn't know that I was defensive. I didn't know. I didn't know that I was very prone to getting defensive about things, or I didn't know that was something like I didn't know what I was avoiding by being defensive. I'm thinking back like like somebody I was feeling very attacked when somebody would say something about something I did, and I would try to over explain it and speak about my intentions, or if I got caught in something that I knew I shouldn't be doing, like, I don't know. I've worked a little retail, so like I worked at this place where when you sell the item, you put this green tape on it, and so when they walk out the door, everybody knows that that thing was bought. And and we're not supposed to throw the green tape in the trash. So like I'm working the register, and I I run out of the roll, but this piece of green tape isn't really enough to really hold on to, and I throw it in the garbage. And then like a manager comes over and sees the green tape in the garbage. It's like, Eddie, we're not supposed to throw green tape away. Customers might take that out and put it on their item and blah blah blah. And I had the inkling to be defensive about it. I'm like, oh, and over explain it. It's like, oh, this piece of green tape is not big enough. Like, no customer's going to pick that out of the garbage. They don't know what it's used for. But instead, in this example, and also, I think I did this. I don't know. Maybe I thought about it and I wouldn't. It's just saying I'm sorry. It's like, oh, that's right. Thanks for reminding me about that. That didn't, yeah, that crossed my mind, and I did that anyway, and I shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry. Now I'll be more mindful next time. Just admitting that I threw it in the garbage and that I shouldn't have. We talked about it before. It's come up at safety meetings and stuff. So, but that's like as a small example, but that happens on film sets. It happens in my life and happens in my relationships. And um, understanding defensiveness and why it comes up, and learning how to respond better has been new for me. I'll list these next two off at the same time. Apologizing, which I kind of covered in that last example, and taking responsibility, which I kind of talked about in the last example. It's all kind of interconnected. The defensiveness, apologizing, and taking responsibility. I didn't want to take responsibility for stuff before, and I would argue to the ends of the earth to make sure that I came out on top and that I was right. When really it's like, it's not healthy. And it hurts the other person and our relationship. Now, okay, this is something that is a little bit more. I am what some may call I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I don't want to let people down. I don't want to see people in bad light. I hope for the best for people, and really positive outlook, and I give second chances, and I try to make stuff work, and this all kind of ties into like it is great and healthy to take responsibility, but there is such thing as taking too much responsibility and carrying the weight of other people on. So this is a lesson that I have learned, is understanding what weight is mine to carry and what weight isn't. And this kind of comes down to like, what task is mine to do and what task is yours. In this case, is my task to share my journey and share my story, and it's yours to figure out how you're going to respond to all of this. And that's not mine. That's not my task. It's not my job. That's yours. And that was something that I thought I understood, but I had blurred lines all over the place and was carrying more than I should have been. And it weighed me down, and it depleted me. So the lesson learned here is kind of understanding what tasks are yours, what tasks were mine, and what has happened to me. And when I look back, is I'm taking on all this responsibility, and I'm trying to be protective of how I'm impacting you. But I started to gaslight myself when things went south, went wrong, didn't go the way that I was hoping to, and I would take on the responsibility for that. And yeah, I was taking on the responsibility for the reaction of another person. It's not my job. You react how you're going to react. And I still, of course, I'll just preface because it's coming to mind. Of course, I believe that there should be a level of consideration for, keep in mind who you're talking to, keep in mind the context of the talk, and um, yeah, we're not here to say things hurtfully or to, all the intentions in the right place. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm just here to share. And, I'm hoping that you receive this well, but if you don't, I can't. I can't carry that weight. And before I did, I would, and this is kind of why I think I had a hard time having these kinds of talks before, as I was so worried and so anxious about how another person would respond that I just kept my mouth shut. And I would be very calculated and very careful about what I would say and when I would say it. And that was me trying to control an outcome and trying to control a response. And then I wouldn't take responsibility back then for when things would go wrong, and I would try to spin the tables or turn the tables or whatever. And yeah. But yeah, I would gaslight myself. I'm the problem. If only I had said things right, they wouldn't have reacted this way. You know, they're angry, but it's my fault, and I shouldn't have said what I said, and I need to really think about, it's if I were better, or if I were good enough, I would have said things right, and I had to face a lot of that not feeling good enough, and stop saying those things to myself, that I have what I have to worry about, and within my own control, my own tasks, and letting everything else go to some extent. Again, of course, the follow-ups to if you do hurt somebody, please listen to them. Try to understand why, but there is a level to kind of like we're not playing the blame game. No. Understand why. We're not here to figure out who's to blame. We're just figuring out what happened and why do you feel the way you feel. And then also, no, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. I think trying to understand the other is very important. Along the same lines as that, a big lesson for me and something that helped me climb out of the abyss that I was in was this realization of separating this understanding that I was just talking about. If you upset somebody, listen to them, figure out what happened and why they feel the way they feel, and reflect on yourself and your actions, and take responsibility and apologize if needed, all of that. But on top of all of that, or around it, I'm not sure which metaphor makes the most sense here, but there is a difference. And I didn't see this until recently. There is a difference between, in this case, witnessing a reaction from somebody, understanding why they are reacting that way is one thing, and then putting a big gulf in between. And then on the other side is this behavior okay? Now, before, I would witness a reaction from somebody and then explain it away. Whether this was growing up as a kid or even me as an adult, it happened all the time. Where it would be like, oh, like give them a pass because, they can't control it, or I understand it, and this is the response I had expected, and why expect a different response? This is who they are. and writing them off in that sense, and then taking the responsibility myself is like, okay, well, it's my job to bend myself and mold myself around them to make sure that that doesn't happen. It's like, well, if I separated it, okay, I understand it, but also that behavior is not okay. And then it's on me to respond accordingly and be like, do I want to be around that behavior? Or if that behavior is coming at me, do I deserve to receive this kind of treatment? And I was so stuck, and I have been so stuck in that thinking all my life, essentially, that that I wasn't seeing the difference. Again, between understanding the behavior that's happening from, is this behavior okay? And that's been a game changer for me in how I see the world as a whole. It's taken so much weight off of me for me to just live my life and and still approach things by being the best person that I can be and responding the best that I can. And it's just made me so much happier and more content with engaging with people in general. It's helped so much. Okay, next I want to talk about trust. Trust. There's this thinking here that trust is earned. You break somebody's trust, you do stuff, and then you earn it back. And you earn it back by doing stuff. So you could imagine having a to-do list. You break somebody's trust, they hand you a to-do list, you complete the checklist, and well, boom, trust is achieved. I did the things, where's the trust? But I've learned that's not how it works in healthy adult relationships, whether this is with a partner, with a friend, in family, any serious relationship worthy of, without trust. What do you got? I've gotten lost in the trust chasm, thinking that if only I accomplished X, Y, and Z, I could be trusted again. And no, trust in a healthy adult relationship is given, is what I'm learning. If we talk about the tasks before, my task right now is to speak and share my story and talk to you, and it's your task to respond, to react. And I'm not playing any part in your reaction. That's all you. Okay, so with trust, let's paint the scene a little bit. As you and I are in a discussion right now, I say something that you don't like or that hurts you, and you think, oh my gosh, I can't trust this person anymore. The trust has been broken. Now, I can, if we're in a position where we can communicate and talk it through, and I know that about you, again, it's the understanding how you feel. It's a lot to approach there. Like I can still it's my task to figure out how I'm going to respond to all of the situation. I could do something. I could try to make changes. I could adjust, or I could ignore, or I could go about my day and not react at all. I could say more hurtful things. But no matter what I do, the trust that is up in the air right now, it's your task. Is do you give the trust back, or do you not? Again, I'm over here making decisions on my end, and they may influence your decision, but it's your decision. And that's trust. His trust is given, not earned. And having the mindset and the dynamic of, yeah, it doesn't. I don't see how it works. I can't see it anymore. It's gone in my mind of you hurt me. Here's a to-do list. Because I could imagine handing you a to-do list. You hurt me. Here's things you could do. Do X, Y, and Z. You do them, and then you come back, and I'm just like, I still don't trust you. I mean, you did all the things I said, but I still don't. The feeling hasn't come back. So that's where the trap is. It's not really about the X, Y, and Z. There's other things at play, which I can't really talk to you about. I have been going to therapy. That's been helpful. Maybe try that. Moving on, I want to talk about this thing called making myself small. And the journey that I have been on is going from somebody who makes themselves small to, again, it's cliche, but it's true. It's called taking up space. I kind of scoffed at that before. I didn't understand it, but now I do. My mindset before was, very minimalist mindset. If I can get by on very little, I was strong. I thought it was a sign of strength. I love getting my full night's sleep, eating enough food. Like there's things the body needs to get by, but um, like emotionally speaking and mentally speaking and environmentally speaking, I didn't give much credit to a lot of the other things, and I thought decorating my space was kind of like a waste of money or like a waste of energy, and I didn't understand the impact of the environment around me, and my thought was if I make myself small and I'm strong, then I'm kind of I can kind of mold myself to any environment that I'm in. I can feel home anywhere. I don't need much. Give me a wooden board, and I will figure out a way to sleep on that thing. um, for instance, or you know, yeah, like for instance, the space that I'm in right now, I would love to decorate it more, and I'm excited to geez Louise, and I'm excited to decorate it more, and that's new for me, and that metaphor of building out the space and like that for has really been helpful for me. It's a literal example of like this is who I am. These are things that are me. These are things that make me feel at home versus just having everything play inside of myself. Like things I should allow the space to be taken up. And then also here's this other little thing that I've noticed too about my tendency to make myself small that I was thinking back on. And it's my car. My car's tiny. Not to get defensive, but to explain. I I know the practical element of it is like parking in Los Angeles area is torture, and I wanted more access to more parking spots because parking anxiety is real for me. But what I have noticed in how the world was and still does when I'm in the car treats me is is like this realization to the smaller the smaller I made myself or make myself, the more space others take up around me. So with the car metaphor, I'll find a wide open curb, I'll park on it, I'll go do my shopping or whatever, come back, and there's larger cars around me, and guess what? Pretty consistently, they leave me no room to get out. They're just all up on this tiny car because it doesn't need much space to get out and maneuver, so why not? But for if you park next to a giant truck, like those cars leave like all the what that's the metaphor. And it hurts. But yeah, I've started seeing it and this is me taking up space. I'm taking up so much airtime. Thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe and like. But that's where I'm at now is realizing how important it is to embrace myself and express myself and take up space and decorate my space and own more stuff. I mean, don't become a hoarder. I don't know, maybe or do. That's not my plan, but I do want to express myself more, and that's what I'm here doing today, taking up space and not feeling bad about it. I mentioned it briefly there, but yeah, I going to therapy helped me a lot. I potentially got really lucky with the therapist that I chose. He's been great, and I'm still going, and it's been very helpful for me. So, uh, yeah, if there's anything, if you've considered it, I finally jumped into it, and I speak very highly of it. So give it a shot if it's on your mind and you can afford it. And it's really, I wish it was easier to have gone through that process and figuring it out. It's very difficult, but it's possible. And this may be the last one here. I do have more I want to say after I talk about this topic, but this one's kind of a big one, and it's changed kind of a lot for me in a short amount of time. But it's embracing vulnerability, specifically within my male friendships, um, and all of my best bro friends, and that has been, it has been amazing for me to experience that. I in the past I have been very private about my life, and I haven't shared much with anyone, despite how close the friendships were. But now I am in this, like, I feel like a dam has been broken in my, I don't know, my heart, in my head, and I'm just in this share, express, be honest mode right now, and I don't want to lose it. I'm really enjoying how it feels to share to my guys and cry to my guys and talk about, and they're opening up to me, and it's opening up new levels of friendship that I didn't even know I didn't have. And it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad it's here, and it's been great. And from what I hear, this is like this is a foundation that is going to be helpful for me to have a healthy life moving forward, having that balance between my friendships and my family and my relationship and my work, balancing all of those pillars. And I don't like, looking back, my friendship column definitely could have been stronger, and now I'm facing that head on, and I'm sharing with my guys. And like I said, I was kind of like, there was fear going into it. It's like, I'm just gonna share honestly, and and I mean, they've basically all responded well and been there for me how I needed to, and it's been different, and I'm trying to keep that momentum going. I don't want to lose it, and I want to keep building on it. Um, so yeah, guys specifically, because especially because being a guy, it's not. I mean, come on. uh, I'm a millennial, so um, it hasn't been a heavy message, and I don't even think it's a heavy message to this day that, hey, express the emotions, embrace the emotions, try to understand them, and share them with your guys. I was always more comfortable getting deeper with my women friends, and even then, I wasn't expressing very much. So I'm like, okay, now's an opportunity for me to level up the guys and lean into them, and that's the a really healthy long term approach, um, to the healthy life. Again, it's my understanding, my opinion, that I'm in right now, and I'm definitely going to be doing what I can to keep that afloat. So if you're a guy out there, pick up the phone and catch up with people, and actually share the stuff. Share how you feel. I have friends that I worry about, and I'm like, I want to know how you're doing, and give me an opportunity to hear you, and I'll share with you. Let's do it. But so I'm in a spot right now. Like I said, I feel different. I feel like I have these new abilities, almost these new superpowers, and I'm leaning into them. I'm feeling them the best that I can. I don't want to lose it, and I want them to get stronger, and I want to keep nurturing. this new me. And the interesting thing is I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting, like the body, the brain. I don't know. I read this book called "What the Body Keeps the Score," and I mean, the science is there, but it is interesting to reconnect because, like, I have these new abilities, and I'm able to feel, like I said, these feelings of safety and this respect, and I can look back in the past and think about people and feel retroactively how I feel about them with my new abilities. And I'm like, oh, that person, I did not feel safe with that person. Or, oh, I haven't thought about this person, but I did feel safe with that person and I want to reconnect. Like, it's very interesting to be in this position now. I definitely have been looking back on some relationships specifically and feeling the need to, like, it almost feels like coming out of AA. Not that, I mean, I don't really drink, but there's the step program, and one of the steps is apologizing to people. And I've looked back on myself and I'm like, wow, I was a really crappy friend, or I wasn't, like, I didn't respond well to this person, and I have this, again, I'm in this honesty mode that I don't want to lose and I plan on keeping. And I'm like, I really need to see this person if they'll have me, and let them know that I'm sorry and that I'm aware of it and take that responsibility, and hopefully build a new connection. But again, my task is to share. So I'm like, I want to share this, and you do what you do, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so that's been lovely, and it's all about connecting. At the end of the day, it's about connection, human connection, connection to a community, connection interpersonally, and that's why I'm here talking to you today. This is something new for me, and I wanted to connect in a new way with you, and share these parts of myself. With that, I'll wind it down. Thanks again for listening and for being there through this episode 100. Yeah, the feeling that I've definitely been facing is I didn't feel good enough for a long time in different ways, and I tried to feel better in a lot of unhealthy ways. So to end this show, I have, and to kind of recap here, the feeling, to sum it all up, that I have been working through is the not feeling good enough, and this is something that I have felt for a long, long time. And I've tried to kind of work through that and address it in, I would say, unhealthy ways, or in hindsight, could have been more direct about it, and more could have accepted it earlier and really seen it, and all of that. All of that said, I am feeling good enough now, and it feels different, and I like it, and I don't want to lose it, and I am afraid of losing it. And I understand that this is going to take maintenance and intentionality and consistency, and that's what I'm building up right now. And I'm looking forward to the future, like I said before. And that's where things are at. But this is episode 100. Thanks again for listening. I want to close out by saying that this podcast will continue indefinitely. So please subscribe if you haven't, on whichever platform you prefer. Video versions are on YouTube. Audio form is on Apple Podcasts and others. Thanks for listening. Until next time, all the best, and bye.